I've put every FBS college football conference in a tournament, and today we're going to find out what the best one is. Now, you might be wondering how I built these 11 teams, and every year all conference rosters are announced, so I took those lists and made all of the first team players starters, where each conference is represented by their reigning champion in game. Now, for the seeding, I had to rank the conferences, but I'll let this Bleacher Report handle that instead, and I can't believe the SEC is sitting at number 4. You'll also see I've made the independent schools a team too, but they only have players from Notre Dame, UConn, Army, and UMass, so most of the roster's best players are going to come from Notre Dame, and we'll see how they do in the playoff opener versus the 6-seeded Sun Belt. Troy won that conference, so they get to represent it, and their starting quarterback is Jordan McLeod, who actually plays for James Madison. So far, he's had no issues leading this all Sun Belt team down the field on the independents, but we'll see what happens on 3rd and 1 where there's a blitz sent in and he gets it out in time. He actually hooked up with Reggie Brown, who's one of his teammates at James Madison, and on 3rd and 4, it looks like they're going to just throw it short, so the independent schools are going to hold them, and Texas State kicker Mason Shipley's going to have to hit this through. I think this is such a neat concept. Obviously, Sam Hartman's the quarterback for this team, and the independents already find themselves on a 3rd and 12 where he is going to get the ball out, and that's picked off by the Sun Belt. That's going to set them up to have success versus the independents, but that's a sack. And I'm not going to know every single player on all these rosters, but it is accurate for the first team. Sometimes the second team players get in as well, like Kamani Vidal did right there, and they're not going to reach the marker. So once again, the Texas State kicker is going to have to put this down the middle, and he's been money for them so far. Notre Dame obviously has the best players on this independent roster, but so far Audric Estime hasn't done anything, and Sam Hartman didn't do anything there either. They might need to rely on their defense, where all the starters are from either UConn or the Irish, and I think Army might have like one corner in the mix. On 3rd and 8, Jordan McLeod checks it down, but that's not enough to get a first down, so Sam Hartman has another opportunity to help his team get down the field, and it's already 3rd and 10 where he is going to get it out, and that's well short of the marker. It seems like he's only feeding his Notre Dame teammates, but he's going to have to spread it around to some of the other wide receivers from UMass and UConn, because clearly what they're doing so far hasn't worked, and the Sun Belt's offense just got stopped again. I figured we'd have a ton of high-scoring matchups with these all-star teams from every conference in the game, but it's taken a while for all these players from different colleges to mesh well together, and here on 2nd and 10, Audric Estime gets to touch it again, but he's not going to go very far. That sets up a 3rd and long here from the 40, and Sam Hartman is going deep where he finds Cameron Ross for the touchdown. However, that lead wouldn't last for long, because Kamani Vidal, Troy's running back, would immediately respond back with a 75-yard touchdown run, and with 4 completions already on this drive, Sam Hartman's doing his best, but it looks like he's going to get injured on this play, so UConn quarterback Taquan Robertson is in the game now, and he's going to have to take over. I did not expect to see the Connecticut quarterback out here, but he is going deep, and that's going to be intercepted. The Sun Belt defense forced another. I have to say, they've been very impressive, and to start the second half, I still don't see Sam Hartman out there on the field, so the second team all-independent quarterback's having to take over, and this is going to be short of the marker. Things aren't looking great for the independents, but they're about to get a stop on 3rd and 10, so they got the ball back, and it is true. Apparently, Sam Hartman is out for the rest of the game with a concussion, so the all-independent team's missing one of their best players, and it's on UConn's Taquan Robertson to lead them to victory now, where this ball is floated perfectly on the money. From there, the drive has continued to go pretty well with him keeping this, and with the read option, they're going to get another first, but you have to wonder if they're going to be able to finish off this drive, and we'll see. This is a big 3rd and 6, and Audric Estime doesn't go anywhere, so Notre Dame's kicker Spencer Schrader is out there to put them down by 3, and Jordan McLeod better figure out how to get this offense moving, because they have not done that much. Aside from a couple field goals and a break-off touchdown run, they've struggled, and this is not going to work out for them either. So the independent schools get the stop, and Taquan Robertson has a chance to lead this 11 seed to a victory over the 6 seed, where Sam Hartman would be back and healthy for the next round, so that would be big. Again, the winner of this game plays the all Big 12 team in the quarterfinals, and I think the independent schools have a better shot than the Sun Belt does, but that's only because on paper they're a 90 overall versus an 83, and on 3rd and 10 they're going deep, but it's going to work. UConn tight end Justin Jolly brought it in, and then they had another 30-yard play, so they're down to the 2-yard line where that's dropped. That should have been the go-ahead touchdown, and this is going to be stopped short at the 1-yard line. So the pressure is on for Taquan Robertson on 3rd and goal, and he has somebody wide open. You gotta wonder if the Sun Belt offense is going to figure it out here with the pressure on. Jordan McLeod throws a nice laser, and I'm waiting for him to find Colin Lacey, the receiver out of South Alabama, because that's a good target, but instead he keeps throwing to his James Madison wide receivers instead, and they're going to move the chains. With only 3 minutes left, the pressure is really on, and taking the check down to the Troy running back is a good idea, but Kamani only got 4 yards here, and on this one he's going to get a lot more. I thought he was the backup, but apparently he's starting over Georgia State's Marcus Carroll, and Colin Lacey finally got a touch, but that wasn't a great one for him, so it is 3rd and 11. The all Sun Belt team needs to pick this up, and they're not going to. I think it's kind of crazy that they're attempting a 50-yarder in this scenario, but they clearly trust their defense defense, they're just going to kick it deep and hopefully get 3 stops with their 3 timeouts. The all-independent team could finish it off here though, and I'm sure Audric Estime is capable of getting like 10 yards in 3 plays, so we will see what happens. He takes this counter run, and there is nobody on that side of the field to stop him. To be completely fair to the Sunbelt team, they had a hard matchup, and Bleacher Report didn't rank the independent conference because it's not one, so I just put them at 11 since they have 4 teams and they're not picking up the first down. Well, the Sunbelt team is going to have a shot as they're getting this ball back with a punt return, and that goes back out of the end zone. So Jordan McLeod honestly just needs to chuck it down the field, but I think they went with a wide receiver screen, and that's bad. They're just going to waste a ton of time, and they're 2 for 9 on 3rd down conversions, so they really didn't deserve to win this game, as that sack's going to seal it for the independent schools. Cameron Ross actually won player of the game, and he's the UConn wide receiver that brought this one in. The 6th seed in this playoff has officially been knocked out though, and next up is Conference USA versus the Mountain West. I've made sure to put the Liberty players on that team as well, even though they're not in the game and they have to play on the road at Boise State, who won the Mountain West. They've already had a 35-yard play, so they're moving the ball pretty well, and Liberty has both the players in the backfield here, but Quentin Cooley didn't go anywhere there, and that's a rough 3rd down play call, which has forced them to punt, and this ball is going out inside the 10. However, I must have not seen it right because they've started at the 15, and that's a good start to this drive as well, as they've broken that tackle. San Jose State quarterback Chevin Cordero leads the way, and he isn't going to get this, so that makes it 3rd and 1, where they hand it off to Ashton Jeanty, and the Boise State running back got it. To be honest, this Mountain West team is very good offensively, but I'm not sure how good their defense is, so I think that could lead to some really interesting shootouts, and on 3rd down, of course, they're going to pick it up. That was a Utah State wide receiver that brought it in, but they also have wide receivers like Torrey Horton, and on 2nd and 10, Chevin Cordero drops back again, where he's going to find Ricky White for like 9. Another 3rd and 1 situation where they do the same thing they did the last time, so the Conference USA team was ready for it, and I can't believe they're attempting a 52-yarder with Jose Pisano, but it's in. That was a good call, and so far, Caden Salter really hasn't done anything, so we'll see what the Liberty quarterback can pull off on 3rd and 8, and that's not enough. Not only would the Mountain West Conference get a stop there, but they'd also get a massive return, so they just really hurt themselves by picking up a false start penalty after losing yards on that last play, and Chevin Cordero got that pitch out in time. That was a wild way to end the first quarter, but the Conference USA defense is going to need to step up, and on 3rd and 3, they are going to not do so. They've actually got the catch, but hang on. Torrey Horton ran backwards for so long that it was marked as a 4th and inches where they run it. It's pitched to Ashton Jeanty, and he has that. After taking a field goal on the last drive, the Mountain West Conference didn't want to do it again. They're trying to get in, and the backup running back from San Jose State has so much space. There's a chance that this gets ugly, but of course I've simmed another touchdown where they took the kickoff back for 6, and that's just my luck, but the Conference USA all-conference team just got a massive touchdown, and it looks like things are starting to open up on both sides. The Mountain West offense has continued to fire it down the field, and on this 1st and 10, they're going to go out at the 18, so I'd imagine that they've locked in at least 3 points here, but of course they'd rather have a touchdown, so we'll see what they do on 3rd and 9, where Chevin Cordero just ran backwards and fumbled the ball away to the Conference USA all team, who's going to pick it up, and I don't know which defender this is, but he might be gone. I am running out of voice at this point, and there's an injury as well to Chevin Cordero. We're seeing another backup. Jacksonville State defensive end Chris Hartle was the player that picked that up, and now they're going to find Malachi Corley to the 1, so the Western Kentucky receiver has set up the go-ahead touchdown, but Caden Salter can't take it. I have a feeling that this entire playoff's going to be wild, and that's going to be caught, but Smoke Harris didn't get the touchdown, and on 3rd and goal, they are all over the run. Quentin Cooley just lost a yard there, and New Mexico State's kicker is going to tie it up. In at quarterback now for the Mountain West team is going to be UNLV's quarterback Jaden Mava, who just took off here, and he's a freshman that had a fantastic season in real life, but he's going to have to step up for his team if he wants to keep them alive, and look at these runs. He is determined to get the All-Mountain West team a field goal at least before the half, and on this play, he takes the sack. So unfortunately for them, that's going to kill their drive, as there's only 2 seconds left in the half, and this was the final play where it's actually intercepted by Liberty. I meant the All-Conference USA team, and I wish I could have changed the names on the scoreboards for this, but even though I did on the roster, it's not showing up that way on the scoreboards, and on 3rd and 5, the Mountain West Conference team picks this up. After throwing that pick to end the half, Jaden Mava's looking to help his team get some points now, and what's been working really well for them is just keeping it on the ground, but eventually the Conference USA team was going to pick up on it, so it's 3rd and 4 for the UNLV quarterback, where he hit him with the play action, and now he's thrown it for 20 yards, and that catch was brought in by his teammate Ricky White, who he's clearly going to have the best connection with. I can't believe that we're already witnessing 2 backup quarterbacks in this one, but he just threw up a duck to the end zone, and I don't know what Jaden Mava was thinking there. He's keeping this Conference USA team alive with the chance to win it, and Caden Salter just threw that one out of bounds, where on 3rd down, they're going to pick it up. It's going to be hard to stop Western Kentucky's Malachi Corley, and this handoff goes to Cooley, who gets him the first. So the All-Mountain West team's biggest weakness, their defense has to figure out how to get a stop, and I feel like sometimes these offensive play calls just help them do it, but Caden Caden Salter breaks the tackle, and he's going to go for a good bit. I don't know if Conference USA is in field goal range or not, but that was a sick hurdle from Malik Jackson, who plays for Jacksonville State, and they've got a good 1-2 punch now that Quentin Cooley's back in. They're going to pitch it over to him, and he's going to take this one for 10. If I were Conference USA's head coach, I'd honestly just keep it on the ground after what I've been seeing, but they wanted to get backup tight end Sean Brown involved as well, and now they're in 5 wide to end the third quarter, where Caden Salter's just going to take the sack, and the ball is loose for the second time today. It's picked up by the Mountain West. Both teams have now had costly fumbles in this matchup, and these early playoff games have been some good matchups, but that's going to be another interception from Jaden Mava, and I don't even know what he was thinking there. The backup quarterback for the Mountain West team is going to lose them this game. He's already thrown 3 picks. I don't understand. If Chevin Cordero doesn't come back soon, they're in a lot of trouble, but it says he'll return soon, so he could save the day, and the Conference USA team's also dealing with some injuries. What's really important though is how this 3rd and goal goes down, and Caden Salter's already running. He throws it on the run, it's dropped, but the Mountain West team almost forced a turnover, and now Ethan Albertson can just put them up by 3. Well, it's time for the moment of truth, and is Chevin Cordero out there, or is that Jaden Mava? It turns out it's the UNLV quarterback, so they're sticking with the guy that's already thrown 3 interceptions, and on this play, it's probably best if he just uses his legs. Even after missing 2 of their best defensive players, this Conference USA defense has stepped up, but Chevin Cordero came in on 3rd down just to make that pass, and this changes everything. The San Jose State quarterback is out there on the field and ready to lead his team to victory. He's breaking tackles, and there's a lot of green or blue grass in front of him on this one. We got a beautiful one coming down to the wire where he throws it, and this ball is going to be knocked down, but it's clear that they don't want to play for overtime. They want to take the lead instead, and they might not have a choice but to settle for 3 if they don't pick up this 3rd and 8, but they're going to do so. San Jose State wide receiver Nick Nash was on the end of that one, and Kerry Robinson just gave them the lead. Jaden Mava getting benched by an injured Chevin Cordero is the best thing that they could have done on that drive, and it's on Liberty quarterback Caden Salter to respond back, where he throws a laser over the middle, but there was way too much heat on that one. I felt like I was watching Jacob Eason throw a ball, and this one is going to be dropped. Well, 4th and 3 for the Conference USA all team, and that's just an interception. I don't know what Caden Salter was thinking there. That's pretty much going to seal this game if he takes it in, and the turnovers have been very prevalent here. The only way the All-Conference USA team can come back now is if they score a touchdown and get the onside kick, but Caden Salter just threw another pick, and the Liberty quarterback was not clutch in the end. Instead, the Mountain West team is moving on, but they have to face off against the All-Big Ten team, so good luck to them. I will say, as long as Chevin Cordero stays healthy, they have a decent shot, but if not, they're going to be in some trouble. And our final opening round matchup is between the MAC and the American Conference. There can't be any Grand Rapids players on this MAC team, so they could struggle, but Toledo quarterback DeQuan Finn's already got a 32-yard completion, and he just couldn't escape the pocket there. That sets up a 2nd and 16, where he's just going to try and do the same thing, but DeQuan Finn can't get around this All-American Conference defensive line, so he's just going to have to chuck it deep, and that's going to be intercepted. There's already been a turnover in this game. Tulsa free safety Kendaron Ray was on the end of that one, and Tulane quarterback Michael Pratt is their starter, but Memphis's Blake Watson didn't get anywhere there, so it's 3rd and 5 where Michael Pratt's going to find a receiver, but the refs didn't like it. That's offensive PI, and it's coming back for a 3rd and 15. This gives the All-MAC defense a great chance to get a stop, and they're going to do it, so maybe this time around DeQuan Finn won't take as many sacks, and Northern Illinois' Antario Brown has set up a 3rd and 2, but once again DeQuan Finn is going down. This All-American Conference defense has been no joke, but on the other side of things, their offense is about to get held to a 3 and out, and that's not going to happen because of Luke McCaffrey. He'd go on to have a 33-yard catch immediately after that as well, so it is a 3rd and manageable for the All-American Conference team, where Michael Pratt takes the sack. Not a single team scored in this first quarter, but he could have drilled that from 60, and could this be the drive where the MAC offense finally gets some points on the board? I think it might be. That's a great catch. Ohio wide receiver Sam Wiglas was the one that pulled that off, and I've never heard his name before, but he's getting a little bit of a spotlight in this video where Ontario Brown goes to the 40. I thought he got enough there, but he clearly didn't, so they need to pick this up, and they're going to, with Western Michigan wide receiver Kenneth Womack being DeQuan Finn's favorite target so far, but he just took his 4th sack of the day, and they're not going to get to field goal range. That's why it's a good thing that the All-American offense lost 7 yards on 1st down, but Michael Pratt's going to try to get all of it back, and he did, making it 3rd and 10 on the dot where he throws it, and that's going to move the chains. He's going to have to do the same thing on this 3rd and 5 though, and that is going to be enough, so maybe they will get more than 3 points before the half. And does he have the legs to scramble? Why is he running sideways there? I'm not sure I understand that logic, but as long as they keep converting, I'm not sure it's going to matter. I mean, there's only so much the MAC defense can do. Their offense has scored 0 points, but that could have been a pick 6, and Michael Pratt got very lucky. Now it's 2nd and 10 where there's the interception that they could have just had, and I think it's also going to be a pick 6 if they could just get one blocker on number 5. And how do you make this same mistake twice there? That's going to change everything. The American Conference looked like they had full control of this one until that play. And now, to end the first half, DeQuan Finn keeps it with the play action, and he is just going to scramble where the end zone is right there. He finally was able to avoid taking a sack, and it pays off nicely for the All-MAC team, who now has a lead on the American Conference. With a tackle and bounds, this one went to the half, but the American Conference gets the ball to start the third quarter, and the MAC defense is proving that they are tough to beat. In their article, Bleacher Report ranked them as the worst conference, and even if it's true, they have taken that disrespect to heart, as that's a good RPO. All DeQuan Finn has to do is avoid taking some sacks, but that's just as bad because they're going to lose a few yards and a down, setting up this 3rd and 14 for DeQuan Finn, where the check down isn't going to get them enough. Now it's back on this American Conference offense to get them a response, but they've only been able to score 3 points so far, and that's a bad 3rd and 8 play call. All the MAC Conference needs is a decent offense, and they would be winning this game by multiple scores right now, but they didn't get the first there, so this is a decisive 3rd and inches, and that's a big run from Ontario Brown. It's safe to assume that because of it, they're at least in field goal range, and this is going to be caught. So Kenneth Womack makes his 5th reception of the day, and Ontario Brown gets them to the 5. This is exactly what the MAC offense needed to do, but if they can't get this 3rd and 1, it's not going to matter, and they don't. Well, they're not sending the field goal unit out there. They're going for it on 4th and 1, and that was the right move, and an amazing way to start the 4th quarter. I feel like the teams didn't flip sides of the field though, but I might just be tripping out. And this is a 3rd and 6 for Michael Pratt, where he gets the ball out and it's swatted down. The Tulane quarterbacks really struggled, and you would assume that with 4 minutes left, they would have gone for it, but instead they've punted it back to the MAC Conference, and he lets it go into the end zone. They are sitting in an amazing position, so I don't know why they continue to try to pass the ball. DeQuan Finn's going to run instead though, and that's the right move. They need to be running out the clock since they're only 2 for 7 on 3rd down conversions, and that was not the right decision. Why would he try to throw it deep there? They're going to get the interception and take it past midfield. A comeback is a real possibility for the All-American Conference Player of the Year, and up to this point, Michael Pratt hasn't played like it, but he could end up stepping up. We will see what happens. Christian McCaffrey's brother, Luke McCaffrey, reeled that one in to make it a 3rd and 2, and it's about time that this American offense started moving the rock. Michael Pratt scrambles, and that gets him 4. They had the home field advantage and everything, but it still hasn't made a difference, and whichever team comes out on top is going to have to face the Pac-12 in the next round, so that's going to be interesting. There's another reception for Luke McCaffrey, who already has 7 of them for 82 yards, and if the MAC defense was ever going to force a turnover, this would be the time to do it, but they're not gonna. There's also been an injury to the American team, and I'm not sure who it was, but it wasn't Michael Pratt. He was out there to throw for that touchdown, but not get the 2-pointer, and we will see what happens with the onside kick, where the MAC Conference is going to recover the football. They are 1 first down away from making it to the quarterfinals, and I don't understand what the American Conference is doing. They're not calling their timeouts, but because they got that first, it would have been over either way, and that's so weird. The MAC is moving on though with DeQuan Finn, and if it wasn't for this amazing play, the 10 seed probably wouldn't have come out on top. It looks like to start the quarterfinals, we get to see the Mountain West Conference play again, but they're facing off against a 99 overall team, and with it also being on the road, they're going to be in some trouble. It looks like Blake Corum and the Big Ten roster is going to open it up on offense, and keep in mind, not only do they have a lot of the Wolverines championship roster, but JJ McCarthy also has wide receivers like Marvin Harrison Jr. to throw to, so there's no reason for him to feed it to Roman Wilson instead. I guess he doesn't want to throw to the rival wide receiver though, and on 3rd down, he goes back to Roman, so that's going to make it 4th and 1, and I could not tell you why they are being this passive against the Mountain West team. I mean, the only thing they got going for them is Chevin Cordero is healthy, but it is already 3rd and 10 where he is going to look over to his check down, and that actually moved the chains. He'd follow it up with a 37-yard pass, so he's actually doing really well back there, and this Big Ten defense is going to have to step up on 3rd and 4 where the halfback screen looked like it was going to go for it, but then they had a player fly out of nowhere. So it is 4th and 2, and I can't believe they just went for it. It is clear that they are going to play very aggressive to try and pull off this upset. They are the 8 seed, and that gets them to the 4. But I told you all, this Mountain West offense could be scary whenever they're all healthy, and they just need 3 more yards where they pass it, and that's it. The Utah State wide receiver got the touchdown, and then the Big Ten had a holding penalty. So it is 3rd and 23 where your best option is to throw it up to Marvin Harrison Jr., but not do that. What a terrible first quarter for the Big Ten Conference. But there's still plenty of time left, so we will see what happens. That's going to go to the 42. I have no idea if they're going to run or pass. I would think that passing would be their better option, and I'm not surprised that Colorado State's Torrey Horton was able to get open there. It is 3rd and 7 now though, and as long as they don't commit an interception, they're going to get a field goal. But Chevin Cordero wanted the first down, and I cannot believe how well they're playing. Also, it is kind of weird seeing some of these Ohio State players in Michigan jerseys, but they've set up a 3rd and 17 where Chevin Cordero gets it out, and I don't think they're getting the first. However, the Mountain West Conference is going for the win, and that's just not what you do there. They had a chance to take a 2-possession lead on the Big Ten Conference, but they didn't, and that call reminds me of Dan Campbell and the Lions. Now it's 3rd and 4, and that ball is going to be picked off. JJ McCarthy actually tried to get it to Marvin Harrison Jr., but what an interception from this Mountain West defense. UNLV defensive back Cameron Oliver was the one that brought that in, and now they're down to the 8. So I guess it doesn't even matter that they couldn't pick up that 4th down on the last drive. And I don't know what Chevin Cordero was doing there, but now he's going to hand it off, setting up this 3rd and goal where it's a halfback screen, and that was smart not to take it. It was boxed up from the start, and now they can get a field goal. So it is 10-0 right now. And if Michigan doesn't get a big gain on this play, they're probably just going to take it to the half. JJ McCarthy runs though, and that's going to get them a first. It looks like they've taken a timeout, so they are going for points, and there's another deep shot, but the chemistry just isn't there. And this Big Ten offense is insane. I don't know how they're struggling this bad against the Mountain West defense. With a run like that from Blake Corum, they should be nearing field goal range, and they're going to get out of bounds. But I wasn't expecting to see a Minnesota wide receiver out there making a catch, and that sack might have just ruined their chance of getting points before the half. There's only a few seconds left now, and they're going down. Cade Stover set them up nicely, but they're not going to kick a field goal. They're going for the Hail Mary, and this ball is going to be swatted down. I cannot believe what we are witnessing right now. But the Mountain West team also gets the ball to start the 3rd quarter, and it is already 3rd and 9 where this wide receiver screen got boxed. That's a stop the Big Ten defense desperately needed, but they have got to get something going offensively, and JJ McCarthy is going to do that here. I don't know how that was a catch, but they're not reviewing it, and they're already past midfield where Blake Corum is going to get a few more on this play. I'd imagine this is 4 down territory for them now, but JJ McCarthy is going to get it on 3rd down, and on 2nd and 7, he is passing where he goes to Blake Corum in the flat, who is open, getting him to the 31. This is a big opportunity for the Mountain West defense to hold them to 3, but they're not going to do it. Isaiah Williams got open, and that threw me off because for a second I thought it was Roman Wilson. They both wear number 1, but there's Roman Wilson catching the touchdown, and I think the Mountain West team is starting to crumble. They're only up by 3, and it's 3rd and 4 where they need to convert here, but they're not going to. It was fun while it lasted, but the Big Ten has the ball back, and it seems like they've been starting to figure things out offensively, but they run it on 3rd and 12, and Travion Henderson clearly isn't going to pick that up. It's just been a defensive battle back and forth. Torrey Horton is going nowhere, and this could very easily be another 3 and out where that's a bad play call. I don't know why they always call halfback draws, but they rarely work, and there's another one from the Big Ten. There's less than 5 minutes left in this game, so it's very important they score on this drive, and JJ McCarthy took the sack. On the next play though, they're running the option, and he's going to get himself like 25 yards. This is when the Mountain West defense has to pull something off like a turnover, and that could have been it, but Isaac Larson dropped the ball, and the Utah State defender might be regretting that one for a very long time. Here on 3rd and 3, JJ McCarthy had plenty of time back there to find Roman Wilson, who takes him to the 4, and the Mountain West Conference has choked their 10-point lead as JJ McCarthy gets in. We have seen Chevin Cordero step up when it matters the most before though, so they might as well let him sling it, and they keep handing it off. It's already 3rd and 8, and this is such a bad play call, which is going to get him hurt just like the last game. They don't even want to send Jaden Mava out there on 4th and 8. They would rather punt the ball back to the Big Ten Conference and rely on their defense to get a stop with their 3 timeouts. But even if they do, Cordero could be done for the game, and Blake Corum gets 1. That's not going to help him too much, and now they're passing on 2nd down, but Isaiah Williams brought it in, making this a 3rd and 5 where they are going to fall short. It's 4th and inches, and it is mind-boggling how passively the Big Ten Conference is playing this by punting it back to them, where I'm not surprised it was Iowa's punter Torrey Taylor that made that kick, and they have a chance to actually go down the field. They're going to break that tackle to get to the 43, and Jalen Royals has been the best wide receiver for this Mountain West Conference team. Chevin Cordero is also out there on the field, so he must have not been hurt that bad, and on 2nd and 5, that was perfectly placed. They have a real shot to pull this one off. On 3rd and 2, he is going deep. There's somebody open over the middle of the field. What is the Big Ten doing? Terrell Vaughn just took it into the end zone with no one near him, and all of a sudden, the Mountain West is actually winning. They choked their 10-point lead, but Chevin Cordero steps up when you need him the most in these games, and this is not the time for Roman Wilson to drop a pass. From the other angle, I honestly thought he caught it. JJ McCarthy has so much time to chuck up a prayer though, and it is not picked. Desperation has set in for the Big Ten Conference. On 3rd and 10, they are going to have Roman, and then on the next play, they get a 5-yard gain, but they'd have to burn one of their timeouts in the process, where they're going to burn their 2nd now. Well, unless he takes a sack, I think they've reached field goal range, but this is just really bad clock management, and they had somebody commit a false start. To be honest with you, I'm not sure the Big Ten Conference wants to win. That is another bad move, because it sets them up for a 3rd and 8 with 10 seconds left, and let's see what JJ McCarthy does. He's going deep, and he has somebody open. Oh my gosh. The Mountain West Conference just choked again. And how do you give up that touchdown to wide receiver Daniel Jackson? It's over. They're not going to be able to come back. They won't even get another snap off, and somehow the Big Ten really just survived there. I gotta say, JJ McCarthy clutched up, but I didn't think that they were going to pull that one off, and I don't know how any of these future games could top what we just witnessed. Next up is the SEC versus the ACC though, so this could turn into a classic as well, and the SEC is the higher seed, so they get the host. That's going to be a thing all the way way up until the championship game, and Jordan Travis is completing this pass to Jamari Thrash. So this ACC offense could be good, and Omarion Hampton, North Carolina's running back, takes this carry. When I say all of the big conferences' offense are stacked, I truly mean it, but the defenses are as well, and whoever wins this is going to have to go on the road to play the Big Ten Conference next. I'm a bit surprised to find out that Virginia wide receiver Malik Washington made that catch, but even though they were terrible, apparently they have somebody capable of making the first team in the ACC, and on 3rd and 9, they're just going to go with the halfback draw to Omarion Hampton, where he's going to get kind of close, but then they're going to commit a false start, so they have no choice but to let the Miami kicker just punch it in. Now it's time for LSU quarterback and Heisman winner Jayden Daniels to lead this all-SEC offense, and there's his first completion of the day, going for a first down as he throws another. He's got some good targets out there like Malik Neighbors, who was on his team, but then there's also players like Missouri's running back that takes that handoff, and he's been sacked by Wake Forest safety Malik Mustafa, making this a 3rd and 14 where he just chucked it up and it's going to be reeled in. It was none other than Missouri wide receiver Luther Burden III on the end of that one, and like I said, this SEC offense is going to be very hard to contain, but to end the first quarter, the ACC just got a big stop, making this a crucial 3rd and goal from the 10 where Jayden Daniels has plenty of time back there in the pocket, and surely he's going to find somebody. Look at that, it's Kentucky wide receiver Barry Brown, and the ACC better score more than 3 points on this drive because they're going to need it to keep up. That throw did not look great from Jordan Travis though, so he makes up for it, and on 2nd and 14, a few plays later, he's going to chuck it deep where it's reeled in. However, Jamari Thrash couldn't keep his feet in bounds, so now it's 3rd and long where he's going to try to escape the pocket, step up in it, and take the sack. That's a big hold from the SEC, but they're also getting the ball on the 3, and Cody Schrader just took it for 6 yards, where now they're going to pick up the first. That Jayden Daniels to Malik Neighbors connection has been elite. He pitches this one last second to where they can move the chains again, and I wish we could see a little bit of Kentucky running back Ray Davis, but he is 3rd on the depth chart, so that's not going to happen, and that should have been picked off by the ACC defense. What I've learned when I watch these teams in these videos is the offenses always seem to struggle more than they should, but I also put it on 5-minute quarters, so they're not going to rack up as many points as you would in a normal game most likely, and in order to keep this drive alive for the SEC, they've got to pick up this 3rd and 2 where they do. Right now, Heisman winner Jayden Daniels is making this offense look unstoppable, and we'll see what they draw up on 2nd and 2 where Cody Schrader comes away with it, and that's going to get them to about the red zone. He is putting this team in a good position to get another touchdown before the end of the first half, and I'm very surprised the SEC is burning timeouts instead of letting the clock run, because there's no reason to hurry. They have plenty of time, but they went in hurry up mode, and that's going to lead to a drop. In double coverage, Luther Burden III just wasn't able to hang on to this football, and that's some solid D to keep the ACC in it, but they're going to give this up. Ainias Smith was able to reach the end zone, and the ACC better get some points before the half, because if they don't, they're going to find themselves down by 2 possessions, and that's where Jordan Travis just almost threw a pick. That would have been a very costly turnover for them, and they still have all 3 of their timeouts, so we will see what they can do with this much time left, and all they need is like another 20 yards. I don't think that's that hard to come by, but that drive's going to end there, and now it's time to start the 3rd quarter. All I'm going to say is if the SEC is a good drive here, they could end the game, because I don't see the ACC coming back if they go up by 18, but they get the stop that they needed, and they have got to move the chains on this 3rd and 8 where the halfback screen to Omarion Hampton isn't going to do the trick. I've been shocked at how bad their offense has been, but they could stop the SEC on 3rd and short, and they don't. Anytime they have an opportunity to step up, they seem to fall just short, which really hurts them. And here's a 3rd and 3 where they stop Jayden Daniels, so Jared Verse might have saved them. They have it back once again, but all they can do is hand it off, and Jordan Travis isn't going to go like 96 yards down the field, so they're just going to have to punt it back again. And with a good return, the All-SEC Conference team is set up to have success, but it's been a rough 3rd quarter for both teams. And now that the SEC is in the red zone, we'll see if Jayden Daniels can take advantage of it. A touchdown would pretty much put it out of reach for the ACC, and I accidentally skipped it, but they would get it. So this one's pretty much over unless Jordan Travis can pull off a miracle. And what is he doing on 3rd down? Now his team feels like they have no choice but to punt it back to the SEC, and they're just giving up. There is not enough time left for them to get 3 stops. So I'm sorry to my ACC fans, but you all cannot compete with SEC. And if this isn't anything other than a pick 6 for the ACC, it's over. That's going to be completed, and there's the first down. I mean, the ACC is not even calling timeouts, but I can't blame them. And in the end, they'd lose 28-3. So that's a good playoff debut for the Heisman winner. And they're playing against the Big Ten next, who they match up really well against. Before the semifinals, though, we have 2 more matchups in the quarterfinals. But first, a word from today's video sponsor, Prize Picks. The Super Bowl is now set between the 49ers and the Chiefs, and you got to take advantage of this free square on Prize Picks while pairing it with something else that'll probably hit, like Kyle Juszczyk fantasy score. He's literally been crushing this recently, and I'm confident that I'm about to triple my entry fee because I'm coming off one of my best weekends ever on Prize Picks, and my team isn't in the Super Bowl, so this gives me some other things to root for. If you want to join me on Prize Picks, code BOARD or the first link in my description will double your initial deposit up to $100, and they're available in 31 different states, so make sure you play responsibly. And for being being an 11 seed, the all-independent team isn't that bad. To win this game, they'd have to play out of their minds, and that starts on the offensive side of things where they just went backwards for a few yards, setting up this 3rd and 11 where Sam Hartman's going to take a check down, and that's not enough. Now at quarterback for Texas, we have Oklahoma quarterback Dylan Gabriel, which is really weird to see, and Ollie Gordon is going to take this carry to like the 30-yard line. So it's also strange to see an Oklahoma and Oklahoma State player working together, but that's what they got to do if the Big 12 conference wants to win this entire playoff. And it's still very early, but this is not looking good for the all-independent team so far as they give up more. Iowa State wide receiver Jalen Noel pulled that one in, and now Dylan Gabriel's taken off to the end zone. So the all-independent team is trailing early, and Sam Hartman just has to throw it away. This Big 12 defense looks very good, and somehow they have the backup out there on the field already. But Cameron Ross makes the catch, and we have seen Taquan Robertson seal the win for this team before. But he's not out there for this 3rd and 8, as it is Sam Hartman instead, and that's caught. This drive seems to be going a lot better for the independent team as they go to the 22. And Audric Estime hasn't gotten many touches, but he's going to get one here, and that's a brutal stiff arm. That is exactly why you feed him. Sam Hartman pulls it for this play, and he can't get around the defender. So this is a monumental 3rd and 2, and Audric Estime converts. That's how the independents needed to end the first quarter. And to start the second, they're just going to hand it off to their backup. But he's gotten them inside the 5-yard line, where now Sam Hartman's going to throw the ball, and that's not going to be a sack. It's honestly impressive that he didn't take one there, but his lineman just got in the way, and they're going to have to settle for a field goal. The chemistry just isn't there with these all-conference teams, but so far Dylan Gabriel's looked pretty good for the Big 12, and that's another first. Whenever they keep it on the ground, they seem to have success until Ollie Gordon just got locked up, and I would not be surprised if they didn't pick up this 3rd and 12, but they are going to do it to their tight end. Jared Wiley was able to move the chains, and the TCU tight end fits in pretty nicely with this offense. 3rd and 3 now though, and I see that Drake Stoops got open. Of course Gabriel found him, and then he'd pass for 20 yards on the next play, so they're inside the red zone, and that's a touchdown. Backup running back Taj Brooks made it in, and Sam Hartman came out firing on this drive for a 26-yard pass because they desperately need points, and there's Justin Jolly getting them inside the 5. The Connecticut tight end just had a massive play, but they have to finish it off, and we've seen the Independents get held on the goal line before, which could very likely happen again, as it is 3rd and goal, and Sam Hartman throws it to an open receiver. He just found Chris Tyree to get it within 4, and I think this is the best offense we've seen yet. I don't think at this point in the game that there's been any other combo of teams that's been able to combine for more points than this, but the Big 12 wants to take it to the half, so they've run the clock down all the way to 32 seconds before snapping the ball, and that is when they're going to not get it. It was a smart move from them, because odds are the independent schools aren't going to be able to get any points before the half, but you never know. That's a good return, and all they need to get into field goal range is like 15 yards, but that was a clutch defensive play to swat the ball down, and this is going to the half. I think we have a pretty good one on our hands though, and it looks like the Big 12 conference gets the ball to start the 3rd quarter. This drive has been a pretty good way to open it up so far, as they're already to the 40, but it is 3rd and 5 where the halfback screen doesn't work out. They fumbled it away, and Dylan Gabriel just made a massive mistake because it's picked up, and if that defender didn't get tripped, he would have been gone, but Sam Hartman's already completed a 13-yard pass, and he's going to need another one of those on 3rd and long where he had a lot of time back there. He finds a receiver, but that's not enough. The best thing they can really do here is just let Spencer Schrader knock it down the middle, and from what we've seen, they're able to trust their defense because they've come up with some clutch stops, as it is now 3rd and 4 for the Big 12, and Ollie Gordon is going to get the first. I honestly wasn't sure if he was going to get past the line of scrimmage there, but he did, and now Xavier Worthy makes his first catch. So the Oklahoma and Texas players are working well together, and they're going to hook up for another game. Then I skipped another touchdown. So that's happened in almost every game up to this point, and I don't mean to do it, but it happens. It puts the independent schools down by 8 points with less than a minute here in the 3rd quarter, but that's a great completion, and Sam Hartman is setting his team up for success. On 2nd and 3, he moves the chains again. So going into the 4th quarter, the independents aren't out of it, and I've decided that I'm going to watch every play here, not sim a single one, so we will see everything that unfolds. This is a tight matchup, so everything that unfolds from here matters big time, and on 3rd and 2, I didn't think that they'd keep it on the ground with Audric Estime, but evidently they knew it was 4-down territory, and they're running with the backup who's not going to get it. The all-independent team was very aggressive there, but I don't think it's going to pay off for them unless they can stop Ollie Gordon, and eventually the Big 12 is going to start running down the clock, so we'll see when they do that. It looks like on 1st and 10, Dylan Gabriel's going to keep this one for another first, and at some point the independents are going to have to start burning timeouts because they're chewing a lot of clock. There's only like 2 minutes left now, and Dylan Gabriel decided to throw it, so that was not a great move because they've given the independents a slight chance and they just don't care. They don't want to run the ball. They're probably going to try to end it through the air right here. They have their running back in motion and then they run. So it turns out they were just setting up Texas kicker Bert Auburn to hit a field goal for them. That means the all-independent team needs a touchdown and the onside kick, but they only have about a minute and a half left, one timeout, and the odds are not looking very good for them. Sam Hartman almost threw an interception, and now on 4th and 7, he takes the sack. back. So it looks like the Big 12 conference is gonna win, and I'm not surprised. They were better on paper, but at least the Independents put up a good fight for a while, especially for an 11 seed, and they didn't have many teams to pick from when building that roster. To end the quarterfinals, it's the MAC versus the Pac-12, and this is the last time the Pac-12 conference will ever have a chance in something like this again. They're starting out with the ball where it looks like Bo Nix won first team Pac-12 over Michael Penix, which is surprising, but he did have a really good season, and Jaden Ott is their halfback. The California Beast is not going to get the ball on this play, and we saw the MAC defense hold strong in their first performance, but it's going to be a little bit harder to do today. However, the Pac-12 didn't pick that up, and DeQuan Finn could actually get his team onto the board first, so we will see if he's able to do it. That was a great scramble to avoid the sack, which he's going to have to do a ton today, and look at Ontario Brown. He just threw that defensive player off of him, and on 3rd and 6, the MAC conference is going to pick it up. Harold Fannin Jr. was not going down, and the Bowling Green tight end kept this drive alive where DeQuan Finn keeps it on the option, but he couldn't quite get enough there, so it is 3rd and 4 where he goes to his flat, and I think they're going to punt the ball back. It would be smart to go for it here, but for whatever reason, the MAC conference isn't being aggressive right now, and we saw it pay off for the Mountain West against the Big Ten, but they're just trusting in their defense instead, and we'll see if it pays off for them. I just have a hard time believing that they can keep up with their wide receivers, but after whatever that was from Bo Nix, it's already 3rd and 10, and that's not going anywhere. Maybe they did make the right move in punting it back to the Pac-12 conference there, and the 10-seeded MAC is by far the highest seed still remaining, so they're our last chance at having an underdog run, and Sam Wiglusz pulls this ball in where he's just breaking tackles left and right. That's a great way to end the first quarter, and from there they'd pick up another 15 yards, so the drive keeps on moving. DeQuan Finn almost took the sack, and they got stopped right before reaching scoring range on their last drive, but it's not happening again. That was very clutch from the Toledo quarterback. Now he goes for like 5, and the Pac-12 defense is going to have to step up at some point, as stuff like that shouldn't be happening. They're letting the MAC conference dominate them physically, but they're going to almost get the sack, and if they didn't get that ball out, kicker Graham Nicholson probably wouldn't be giving them a 3-point lead. He did though, and the Pac-12 is making dumb mistakes, so with 3 minutes left in the first half, they still haven't scored, and Roma Dunze gets his first catch. It was about time he did, but these runs haven't been working out for them, and it's 3rd and long where the Pac-12 just goes with the halfback screen, and they're not going to pick it up. I didn't think the MAC conference could compete like this, but they simply just want it more, and they have 6 first downs to the Pac-12's 3 right now, so they are dominating this game. We'll see if they can end the first half the right way though, as they're going to pick up this first, and I'd expect them to get into field goal range as long as they don't take sacks, which is really going to hurt them because they also took a timeout, and then they took another sack, so they're just going to have to punt it back. That was not what they needed in the first half, because now Bo Nix has it, and even if he almost threw an interception, he could always pull off something big, but that's a sack, and the Pac-12 just ran down the clock to take this to the half. I cannot believe that they haven't scored a single point, but after watching the Mountain West Conference choke versus the Big Ten, I can't get excited because they're bound to do dumb stuff like that, and on 3rd and 13, they are not going to reach the marker. It is time for this struggling Pac-12 offense to wake up, but after taking a sack on first down, they find themselves in a 3rd and long, and they're not picking it up. Then DeQuan Finn started this drive with a 33-yard pass, and they're gashing them. That's all the MAC conference needed to set themselves up nicely, and surely they can get more than a field goal out of this drive, but even if they don't, they could still go up by 6, and DeQuan Finn goes to his flat on 3rd and 2 where they're not reaching the marker. And Ontario Brown's also holding his chest, so they're just going to send Graham Nicholson out there on 4th and 1, and when their defense is playing this way, that's the right move, but Bo Nix breaks the sack, and they've forced a fumble. The MAC defense stepped up again, and I cannot believe what I'm witnessing right now, but that's dropped. That needed to be held on to, because now they're going to just go with the halfback draw, and as long as they don't turn it over, no matter what, they're going to be able to take a 2-possession lead on the Pac-12. Backup Penny Boone got them down to the 1-yard line though, and he has come in and made a huge difference. Unlike the Big Ten, I'm not sure I can see the Pac-12 coming back at this point. They've struggled, and they just keep giving it to halfback Jaden Ott, but they faked me out with that play action, so I'm sure they also faked out this MAC defense, and Bo Nix just had no urgency to get that ball out. Now on 3rd down, he does. He ran off his back foot, and that's short. The MAC defense holds again, and they have a 13-point lead here in the 4th quarter, but that's going to be a sack. So DeQuan Finn did the one thing that you couldn't do in that situation, and it's back to trusting their defense where the play action's going to let Troy Franklin get open. Then the Pac-12 comes out in this goal line set, so I know that they're going to hand it off to Jaden Ott, and this has certainly been some questionable play calling from them, but he gets a few more, so it's 3rd and 3, and I think this is the farthest their offense has gotten all day. They have some really good targets, so I would expect them to throw it a little more like they do here, and Roma Dunze is going to get open every single time. With 3 minutes left, time is starting to tick, and CJ Nunnally IV, the Akron defensive end, has been huge for them, as it is now 4th and 6 where Bo Nix is going to get this ball out, and it's caught. The Pac-12 might have clutched up there, but they still need to get a stop, and why are they passing? We might be witnessing another choke as the MAC conference is in trouble. trouble because it is 3rd and 18 and they're just going to hand it off and give it back to them. They're trusting their defense versus this Pac-12 offense and Bo Nix, where he's going deep to Rome Odunze, and Quinion Mitchell comes away with the interception. That is the Toledo cornerback that's one of the best in the country. And these clamps are going to help the MAC conference pull off the upset because they can run out the rest of the clock. And I cannot believe they're going on to the semifinals. We were waiting for an upset, and that's a bad note for the Pac-12 to go out on, but we have our underdog and there's just 4 teams remaining. This is going to be the first matchup for a spot in the championship, and the Big Ten gets to host because they're the higher seed, but this is the last round where that's a thing, and Cody Schrader takes this for like 2 yards. They seem to like to keep it on the ground as they went with it again, but that sets up a 3rd and 5 for Jaden Daniels where they are going to box it up. The Big Ten Conference had a scare in their last matchup, so I'd expect them to come a little bit more prepared, but Blake Corum just got destroyed at the line, and on 3rd and 13 he breaks the tackle, but it's not going to be enough. Well, both teams have already been able to get one stop, and on 2nd and 13 Jaden Daniels keeps it, he throws it, and that's straight to Malik Neighbors. You know that if he's going to be targeting anybody on the field, it's going to be him, and that LSU connection is strong, but they run it again, and they are really feeding this Missouri running back just over and over. Eventually he's going to get tired, and then Judkins is going to get a carry where he breaks that tackle, but he wasn't able to reach the marker, so the SEC has punted it back again, and JJ McCarthy takes off for like 7. Both teams seem to want to keep it on the ground so far, but these run defenses are way too good, so they're going to have to pass it instead, and there's Daniel Jackson. He was the savior for the Big Ten in their last one against the Mountain West Conference, and Travion Henderson gets 9 yards to set up the 2nd and 1, where Blake Corum moved the chains, and the Big Ten is starting to fly down the field, but that's dropped, and Caleb Downs could have changed everything with an interception there. Now JJ McCarthy's scrambling, he breaks one tackle, and he goes to the 38. It's been a scoreless first quarter, and it is 3rd and 5 to start the second, where they had enough time to hit Isaiah Williams. At some point, the SEC's defense is going to have to make a stand, and JJ McCarthy just keeps hitting them underneath, as this one's now going deep, but it's going to be intercepted. That's exactly what the SEC needed. It was Auburn defensive back Jalen Simpson that was on the end of that one, and that's a huge turnover for the SEC, but they also have to take advantage of it. They already find themselves in a 3rd and inches, and this is going to be picked up by Judkins for the first. So the Ole Miss running back is making the most out of the touches that he actually gets, and if this one goes to Cody Schrader, that would be his 10th handoff of the game. He's going to catch the pitch and go nowhere. The big news though is someone else is limping off the field, and it is LSU wide receiver Brian Thomas, so now they're going with the halfback screen on 3rd down, and it isn't working. This game reminds me exactly of the one we just watched between the MAC and the Pac-12, but after a loss of 3 yards, now it is 3rd and 6 where JJ McCarthy is going with the deep bomb. Is that Marvin Harrison on the other end? It was, but he doesn't make the catch, and I'm not sure if anybody's going to get onto the board before the end of the half. It's like we're watching the Iowa Hawkeyes versus the Iowa Hawkeyes just scrimmage each other, but Cody Schrader breaks that tackle, and surely Heisman winner Jaden Daniels can start to figure things out. He's trying to make a play for himself, but Penn State defensive end Chop Robinson was all over it, and these defenses are elite. There's got to be so many 95 plus overalls out on the field right now, and with that sack, the SEC's offense has been stopped again. This ball barely got out, and if JJ McCarthy's not more careful, next time they might call that as a fumble. Now he's trying to run and he stopped, so I have a feeling this would just go to the half, but they've hiked it. They want to get points, and they are not going to complete the pass. It is picked off. I think that's Caleb Downs that's on the end of it. He takes it to the 43, and I did guess it right. It is the Alabama safety. So he set up the SEC nicely because surely they can figure out how to get a field goal out of this field positioning. And Jaden Daniels is 8 for 8 for 64 yards, but it feels like he has not done that much even though he's 9 for 9 now. I'd assume all they're going to get is 3 out of this, but maybe they're going to go for the end zone. This ball is thrown and it's out of bounds. That's the first incompletion of the day for Jaden Daniels, but it was bound to happen. And Alabama kicker Will Reichard should put this one through the uprights. Well, it wasn't a very eventful first half for the offensive side of things, but it was for the defense. And JJ McCarthy's already thrown 2 picks in this one, so it makes sense he's kept this on the ground, but he's going to have to put it back through the air, and that's what they do on 3rd and 7, which is going to go to Isaiah Williams. The Illinois wide receiver just came up big time for them, and Travion Henderson gets them like 8 more. So it's starting to look like the Big Ten's going to actually score, and we'll see what JJ McCarthy can do here as he almost throws a pick. A bubble screen to Cade Stover is not worth almost turning the football over. And here on 3rd and 5, the Big Ten is passing where they're going deep and Daniel Jackson's open. The Minnesota wide receiver's actually been really good for the Big Ten Conference in this playoff, and I can't believe I had no clue who that was before I started filming this video. I could randomly name like the 4th string wide receiver for a team like Marshall off the top of my head because I play this game and have looked at these rosters that much, but that was a huge stop for the Big Ten Conference holding the SEC, and now they have the ball back again, and this is going to the 43. Whenever Cooper DeJean gets on a return, it is scary, but sometimes the refs will take it away, which can really hurt. And right now, all the momentum has swung in the Big Ten's favor. Blake Corum is going to get the first, keeping this drive alive, and they are determined to go through the air on this next play, but they can't block for long enough. And JJ McCarthy just stood in the pocket for 2 too long, but they pulled off the RPO successfully. And I can't believe they went back to it after almost throwing an interception on it a couple of drives ago. Marvin Harrison isn't coming away with that in double coverage, and the SEC has locked up again. It is about time for Jaden Daniels to get things going for them, because the SEC's offense was awesome in their last matchup, but it's been non-existent today. This is not how I saw this game going, but they just handed off again. And I don't know why they're not passing more, but they're not. And with this next one, it's another handoff that goes for only a couple. I swear, Jaden Daniels better not hand this off on 3rd and 6. At least he's finally passing, and that's going to be knocked away. So the Big Ten defense just locked up there, and JJ McCarthy is going to throw his 3rd interception of the day straight to the SEC. Missouri linebacker Tyrone Hopper just came away with that football. And the only time the SEC has scored points has been off of turnovers whenever they are set up to have success, so they should do it here. The only issue is a field goal doesn't tie it up, so they're going to have to figure out how to reach the end zone. And because they're so determined to run the ball, it is now 3rd and 9 where they're going to fall short. This is a big 4th down for the SEC's offense, and the halfback screen to Cody Schrader is going to come close. So I had no idea if the refs were going to give it to the SEC or not, but it turns out that they did. No matter who wins this one, neither team has any excuses, because both offenses have had a multitude of chances, and on 3rd and 14, that's not going to be enough. I cannot believe after all of that, the SEC takes 3. But I guess it would make sense to trust the defense that has locked up multiple times, and JJ McCarthy goes nowhere. Now it is 2nd and 9. We all know this is going to Blake Corum, so it's going to get blown up. And if the Big Ten chooses the pass on 3rd down, they could end the game. They have done that, and it's a sack. Well, the SEC did what they needed defensively. Now they need like 15 or 20 more yards. And it might have looked like it was a catch in real time, but it turns out it wasn't. That means it is 2nd and 10 for Jaden Daniels, where he's just going to go down to his flat. And surely he does not screw up the amazing opportunity that his defense set up for him. But now it's 4th down. And this is it for the SEC if they don't pick this up, where they are going to throw an incompletion. I cannot believe how bad they played. But the Big Ten is going on to the championship, and the All-SEC team didn't deserve to win. That was a disgusting offensive game, and it's time to root for the upset in this next matchup. But it's going to be very hard for the MAC conference to pull off another one, and even though they were the lowest overall team and didn't get a 1st round bye, they've still made it to the semifinals. We're going to see if they have what it takes to beat the Big Ten, and their defense is not stepping up the same way they have in previous weeks. They're giving up a massive play. So Ollie Gordon might do whatever he wants versus them, but he's going to get stopped, and maybe this is where they step up on 2nd down. Too many players committed to Dylan Gabriel, giving this up for 9. So now it is 3rd and short, where the halfback draw doesn't work. The Big 12 is almost being disrespectful, going for it here on 4th and 6, and Stoops is going to fall short. So the MAC conference just got a huge stand right there. And no matter what happens in this game, the All-MAC team has been very special. All they need from Daquan Finn is 3 yards here, and he is going to keep it into 2 players. So they were all over that run. But we know that they like to play a defensive game. That's exactly how they took down the Pac-12, and it looks like Dylan Gabriel is going to run for like 15 yards on them. One part of me kind of wants the Big 12 to win just so the championship is competitive, but I guess if the MAC could beat this 99 overall team, they could also compete with the Big 10 as well. And they shouldn't even be in this, as they almost lost to the Mountain West Conference. So maybe we'll root for the underdog. I'm seeing a lot of success from the Big 12's offense so far, which isn't a good sign. And Dylan Gabriel is literally picking it apart. He is 7 for 7. So they need to show any sign of resistance. And on this play, Ollie Gordon's going to break 1 tackle and fight for the 1st. Approaching the end of the 1st quarter, the Big 12's offense is getting very close to reaching the end zone with another completion. And Xavier Worthy already has 4 of those. Now Dylan Gabriel's trying to reach the end zone. He throws a guy off of him. And that was a disgusting stiff arm, but it still wasn't enough to reach the end zone. On 2nd and goal they do though. And Xavier Worthy gets his 5th catch. Well, it's clear that the MAC conference can't stop their 2nd wide receiver. And the MAC only has 1 good corner, so that's why Ontario Brown though is going to see a lot of space on this run. And I can't believe how solid those blocks were. For this next play, he's not going to get the same look, but he still managed to pick up 6, and now the Big 12 is all over it. Well, they have to do something here on 3rd down, and Daquan Finn looks like he's just going to take the sack. So the MAC conference's defense has got to figure out how to stop Ollie Gordon. And I'm still shocked that they didn't have like any issues versus the Pac-12, because I think I'd take the Pac-12 offense over the Big 12, but that's going to be an interception from Dylan Gabriel. The MAC conference is going to tie it back up. Sure enough, it's Toledo cornerback Quinion Mitchell, and they just continue to do defensively what worked against the Pac-12. It took them a little bit to come alive, but all the momentum's in their favor right now, and they're giving up a big one to Dylan Gabriel. He's trying to make up for that interception, but the halfback draw is stuffed, and what a stop for the MAC conference. If Daquan Finn could put together a 2-minute drive here, that would be incredible, but he's really struggling versus this Big 12 front 4, and I'm not sure if anybody's even getting open. There's an interception. That really hurts, as the Big 12 is in a prime position to go down the field and get a touchdown. So the MAC is going to need a miracle, and on 1st and 10, they're all over Ollie Gordon. If they could just hold them to a field goal, it wouldn't be the end of the world, but they're in 5 wide, so I'm sure somebody's going to get open versus this man-to-man coverage. And that was a laser from Dylan Gabriel. They've sent the house at Daquan Finn on the next play, and everybody in the stadium knows that he's really shaken up right now. He doesn't know what to do versus the Big 12 defense. I think they want to just take it to the half, but the Big 12's calling timeout, so this isn't good because they have it back with 40 seconds left, and Dillon Gabriel's going to go to the 40. If it wasn't for that pick six, this one would already be ugly, but that is a huge sack from the MAC, and they're going to almost get another. If only that would have been ruled as the fumble that it should have been. I thought it was for sure, and this is going to be intercepted, but it popped out of their hands at the end of the play. And Dillon Gabriel's about as blind as me to throw this football to them. You know, it was a rough first half for the MAC offense, but they're still in this game, and they have the ball to start the third quarter where they're playing for a spot in the national championship of these playoffs. Now on 2nd and 3, it looks like DeQuan Finn is going to stand in the pocket and just complete the pass. So the Toledo quarterback is building his confidence back up, and that's what we like to see. That defensive end right there, though, has been giving this MAC offense fits the entire day, and they are 0 for 3 on third down conversions. Hopefully they don't become 0 for 4, but they are going to. Right now, it looks like we're going to get a Big 10, Big 12 national championship, but who knows? Maybe the MAC conference can come away with another pick six or something. And that's the first time that Xavier Worthy has touched the football in so long, but it's not going to matter. There's simply too much talent on the Big 12 side of things, and the All-MAC defense has got to be gassed at this point. Ollie Gordon's going to throw that guy off of him. So once again, it's a new set of downs, and right now the Big 12 has 213 yards of offense, but they fumble it away, and that is exactly what the MAC conference needed. They have life. We just need DeQuan Finn and them to step up here, and I don't know what they're doing offensively. Please don't take the sack, DeQuan Finn. There you go. Just run right up the middle. All right, it is 3rd and 3, and he is going to keep it. He wants to get this himself, which he does. So now the All-MAC team is down to like the 25-yard line, and that's going to be another few. The underdogs still have a chance in this one, but DeQuan Finn takes the sack, and whatever he does on 3rd down, all he can't do is take another sack or turn it over. To be honest, that is completely fine because I think their kicker is able to drill it from this far out, and Graham Nicholson has this MAC team within 4 points of the Big 12. It might take getting another turnover, but there's still a chance for them in this game, and that is going to be a huge play to Drake Stoops. Nobody decided to guard him. That is the last thing that they needed there, and I'm not sure if they can recover from that going down by 11. I know if this result stands, we're going to get a much better championship matchup, but I want to see the MAC pull it off, and they really need to get this 3rd and 2 where they are going to pick it up. There we go. There is still hope, but it's not great, and DeQuan Finn only gets a couple, so that's going to take us under 4 minutes, and they still have a very long way to go on this drive, but this is definitely it. If they don't score on this possession, they can't come back, and we all know the odds of them beating somebody deep are not likely, so the fact that it is a 3rd and 16 is very bad, but it's going to be converted. And why has it taken them this long to get some offense going? I don't understand. DeQuan Finn now looks really good, and up until that fumble in the 3rd quarter, they only had 38 total yards of offense. I do have some bad news though, as you'll see that Ohio's Curtis Rourke is now out there on the field at quarterback. He at least completed this inside the red zone, but DeQuan Finn must have gotten injured on that sack, and this is not the time for false starts. That makes this a 1st and 15, and Curtis Rourke just takes the halfback screen over to their backup running back, but Penny Boone was solid in the last match, and there's DeQuan Finn. It didn't take long for him to be back out there on the field, and on this 3rd and 14, they're going to come close to reaching it. So of course, they have got to go for it here. They have somebody in motion. This is the game. He stands tall in the pocket. He gets some good blocks, and he throws it on the run, but the Big 12 defense has held strong, and with 1 first down, they're going to secure their spot in the championship, which they do here. It was a really good effort from the MAC conference, but they couldn't take down this Big 12 team because of their defense, and I have nothing but respect for the 10 seed putting up a fight in a run like this. They couldn't make it all the way, but we have a good championship setup, and they're both 99 overall, so either one of them could come out on top. This is to decide the best conference in the country, and let's see what Dillon Gabriel does on this first play. He's going to wind up, and that's going to be off target. I thought he was about to bomb it like 50 yards down the field. He breaks 1 tackle, but we all know that this Big 10 conference defense is tough. We watched them lock up the SEC, and they've done the same thing to open up this game. All their team has to do on the other side of the ball is probably score like 14 points, but JJ McCarthy's already thrown a pick, and I cannot believe that's how they started this game. It's almost like the Big 12 offense never got put off the field because now they're down to like the 30-yard line, and Dillon Gabriel just had a nice run. Now he's standing tall in the pocket to find Xavier Worthy, taking them to the red zone. Unless they turn the ball over, they're definitely going to get the first points of this one, but the real question is, will the Big 12 get 7 or will they get 3? Ollie Gordon's going to take them all the way down to the 1, so my guess is 7, and let's see what happens. Dillon Gabriel has an open receiver, and nobody was in the area of Iowa State wide receiver Jalen Noel, but JJ McCarthy just threw another interception, and what on earth is going on? They've run 2 plays, he's thrown the ball 2 times, and both of them have resulted in turnovers. I have never seen a quarterback sell as hard as he's selling for his team right now, and there is no way that the Big 12 is about to win the best conference. There's still plenty of time left in this one, but the Big 10 offense has to figure things out, and this is a massive 3rd and 3 where they sent in a blitz, but that was was not a great idea. They made it way too easy for Dylan Gabriel to find the open wide receiver, and on 2nd and 7, he gives it to Ollie Gordon, who gets a couple, but they're still 8 yards away from reaching the end zone, and here on 3rd and goal, he's going to go to a check down, which isn't enough. I don't think it matters, though, because they're still going up 2 possessions, and they actually have J.J. McCarthy back there in 5 wide right now. They just are trying to get his confidence back up. Marvin Harrison only got a yard there, though, and he keeps the read option for a few more, so now it is 3rd and 5 to end the first quarter, where he checks it down, and that is not going to be enough. The Big Ten is in a ton of trouble, and with this punt, they're going to pin them inside the 20-yard line somehow, but they need to force a turnover or something like the MAC conference was able to do versus the Big 12, and here on 2nd and 7, Dylan Gabriel is going to have plenty of time back there, but he still barely got it out. We know that this Big Ten defense can lock up, but will they do it on 3rd and 7 is the question, and they do. For as bad of a start as it's been, they're not out of it by that much until this play, and they cannot afford to be taking sacks in situations like this when they need to put up points on the board. I don't know what's happened to J.J. McCarthy, but he just almost threw another pick, and I don't know how this ball just went through that linebacker's hands. The Big Ten is so lucky to still have a chance in this game. Blake Corum gets them a few, and we've got to talk about how solid this all Big 12 defense has been as of recently, but the second I say something, they're letting J.J. McCarthy drive it down the field. And here on 2nd and 7, Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to come across to get the ball, but Kansas corner Kobe Bryant was all over it, and they're not going to pick up the first down. I love the aggressiveness to go for it on 4th and 1, though, but they don't have any points yet, and what was that play? That's a 3rd interception. It wasn't a run or anything simple, but instead it was a pass straight to the other team, and now the Big 12 is in full control. If they would have taken their 3, they would have at least been able to get it back within a possession before the half, and somehow Dylan Gabriel has completed almost 10 passes for only 40 yards. I guess the Big 12 offense really hasn't needed to get big gains since they've been getting great field positioning, and now they're starting to rack up some first downs as Dylan Gabriel has more time back there. He sets his feet, and that was almost picked. Whatever he does, as long as he doesn't throw a pick 6, his team should be fine. And on 3rd down, the all Big 12 team went with a wide receiver screen, but that was never going to work. That gives the Big 10 about 43 seconds before the end of the first half, and if I were them, I'd be trying to score some points, but we're going to see what they do after this goes short of the marker. They've just taken it to the end of the half, and what a terrible showing from them. At some point, they have to get things going offensively, and that's what they've done so far in this 3rd quarter, but I have accidentally skipped a few plays, so they're already at midfield, and J.J. McCarthy just throws it deep to Roman Wilson. That's the 2nd pass that he's had for 30 yards or more on this drive, and he's trying to make up for his 3 interceptions where he keeps this for a few more yards. But now it is 3rd and short, and they need to convert. Let's see what he does. He checks it down to Blake Corum, and that is going to be enough. I can't believe the running back made it there, but if the Big Ten can score, they're going to be very much alive in this championship. And on 2nd and goal, they just hand it off to Blake Corum, who's going to get them to the 1. They've set themselves up for success, but that was their 3rd down play call, and now they're deciding to kick a field goal. That ball was on the half-inch yard line, and there's never been a team that deserves to lose a game more than they do right now, but the Big 12's offense hasn't done anything recently, and that's going to remain true here. 3rd and 4 for Dylan Gabriel, where he keeps it on the read option, and he isn't going to go for the marker, so the Big Ten's getting it back again, and the fact that they could tie it up on this drive after throwing 3 interceptions is absurd. J.J. McCarthy has all the time in the world back there in the pocket, so eventually Marvin Harrison Jr. was going to get open, and this was a cool little play to Blake Corum. It didn't go for much, but at least it was unique, and Daniel Jackson gets them closer to midfield. They're going to have to get another yard on 3rd and 1, though, and J.J. McCarthy's going to do that when he finds Cade Stover, who takes them to the 35. So the Michigan to Ohio State connection is elite, and I think the idea of that would make both fan bases sick, which I love the idea of. J.J. McCarthy goes deep, though, and he finds his teammate Roman Wilson, so all of a sudden it is all tied up at 10, and Taj Brooks just trucked one guy. He trucks another guy. He hurdles somebody. What is he doing on this play? The Texas Tech running back literally just went crazy. He needs to get some more touches, and the Big 12 is falling apart here because of the Big 10's defense, where on 3rd down they don't get this. After all those turnovers, the Big 10 could take a lead on this drive, but they give it to Blake Corum, and he gets them a few as he's going to take this next handoff as well, setting up a 3rd and 6 where it is 3 straight runs. They just abandoned the pass out of nowhere, and you gotta die by it after letting J.J. McCarthy get you back into it. But now that they're no longer chasing points, they're no longer playing in desperation, and they need to switch up the play calling if they can get the stop on 3rd and 9, but they're not going to. Xavier Worthy's open. That was a big time throw from Dylan Gabriel, but now the backup's out there on the field. It's Kansas State's Will Howard, and this is not when you want to have him out there with a game on the line. He hasn't played a snap all day. Shin splints are going to keep Gabriel out for the next quarter, and Will Howard has to finish this one off for the Big 12, where he is going to find his receiver, but Drake Stoops was tackled short, and I think this game is going to be headed to overtime. There's always the chance that the Big 10 could score here, especially since they have a minute and a half to do so, and we will see what they can pull off. That was a nice start, and on 2nd and inches, J.J. McCarthy finds Blake Corum for what looks like his 10 yards, so they've already gotten to the 40-yard line, and now he's going to have enough time before taking a sack. UCF UCF defensive lineman Trayman Morris-Brash with his 3 sacks has caused this game to go to overtime. And the Big Ten has the first possession where they hit Blake Corum with the halfback screen, but he's going to go nowhere. It is key for the conference to capitalize on this first drive by scoring a touchdown and not getting just a field goal. So Roman Wilson getting another catch is a big deal, and Marvin Harrison's going to get a couple more. The Big 12's defense could really use getting a stop or a sack, and that ball is going to be intercepted. That's a 4th pick. I think JJ McCarthy just sold him, and Iowa State corner TJ Tampa came away with that football. But there's always the chance that Dylan Gabriel could turn it over as well, and that is not going to be fumbled. I cannot believe it, but after all of that comeback, it looks like the Big Ten's going to lose. And out of desperation, they sent a blitz there, but it won't matter if the Texas kicker can drill it from here, and he does. That's where the game's going to end. And according to these playoffs, the Big 12 is the best conference. They ended up winning it mainly because of TJ Tampa, and all those turnovers prove that their defense is also one of the best. If we can get this video to like 10,000 likes, I'll do it in Imperialism as well, and we'll see who the best conference is there because we have our answer for this one, and it took a while to set up, but it was well worth the wait, so I hope you all enjoyed this video.